Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. And today we had a really small slate of games, even though it seemed like it may have been larger than it was. There were only 6 games that were in play for the main slate. The first game was the early game. It was a 4:30 game, and it was the Jazz going to the LA Clippers. So we're gonna get into the complete slate, all the games, kind of highlight what plays are really good, and just talk about guys in specifics where they are. It's gonna be a short video because the main focus of this video is gonna be to usher you into week 2 of the NBA, starting on Monday with a 4-game slate that we'll be talking about. Now, you can play these smaller slates at your own risk. There's going to be a ton of overlap. A lot of lineups are going to be very, very similar. And you already know, to separate yourself, you're going to have to target those plays that are not going to be as high owned as the others. This is like an NBA ownership is not as key a feature as it can be in NFL, unless there's a slate this small and you've got to separate yourself from the field in your single entry GPPs as well as your larger GPPs. Um, so let's go ahead and get into the first game of today, that 4:30 game I was talking about. On the Utah side of the ball, if you took Joe Johnson, you were sorely disappointed, as he only had 7 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and 2 steals in 25 minutes. Leading the way in scoring for Utah was George Hill, who's playing quite impressively early in the season. Even against Chris Paul, he was able in 31 minutes to get 18 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Dante Exum saw an increase in minutes. He was up to 25 minutes in this game, and he had 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. On the other side of the ball, we had Blake Griffin scoring 18 points and grabbing 10 boards. So he had a pretty good game. Like I said, this game wasn't really a part of the main slate, so I doubt that this game really had any impact on your entire NBA fantasy day. It was a part of the all-day slate, which was really, really small. Not a lot of great tournaments in there. So Austin Rivers jumped off the bench. The coach's son had 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Chris Paul, not a good game from Chris Paul. Not what we look for when we roster Chris Paul. It was 9 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4 steals. The kind of the 4 steals and the 9 assists kept him from having a horrible performance, but the 9 points from Chris Paul is not something that we look to see very often, or something that when it does happen, we are happy about. The next game we're going to get into. And I forgot to tell you about DeAndre Jordan. He had a situation with his thumb, I believe, and X-rays came back negative. So I think he's going to be good to play on the next time out. He should be good to play. So, and this right here, this is NBA League Pass, and what I do, I go back and I watch condensed games all the time. When there's players specifically that I am targeting, I want to get to know the player better, I want to see what he does. I'll go back and I will watch the condensed games, because that'll give me a really good look on what I can expect going forward. The player I'm looking at now is going to be Warren from the Phoenix Suns. He is trending upwards a hell of a lot, and I didn't get a chance to watch this game in total earlier against the Golden State Warriors. So I go back and I watch condensed games. Let me tell you, NBA League Pass is such a valuable asset, such a valuable tool in your DFS research. It's $1.99, a one-time fee, or you can pay it like in installments for $49.99, I think. It's such a great investment. I already earned the money back that I paid for it, and now I'm just using it as a tool daily to keep my eyes on players. It's one thing to hear me talk about them and talk about their performance and spit off stats to you, but it's another thing to watch the players actually perform, and you see their relevance to the team, their role, to the team, and it gives you a better insight of whether you should roster the player and when and where you should roster the players. So next game, and this is the first game that really meant something on the slate we were talking about. The Golden State Warriors going to Phoenix. Uh, a lot of us thought that this game was going to be a blowout, but Phoenix wasn't having that. They actually played well and kept the game fairly close, kind of down to the end. And Kevin Durant, man, he's on a tear. He 37 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and a block. He of course led the team in scoring. And we had Steph Curry with 28 points, 1 rebound, and 3 assists in 34 minutes. Klay Thompson played 40 minutes. 40 minutes from Klay Thompson, and only had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. So this Golden State situation is sketchy. It's so sketchy. We're not sure what we're going to get from these guys every night. Draymond Green, 5 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists. He's the only person that can make himself valuable without scoring the ball because he does all the dirty work. He does all the cleanup work. Really got nothing off of the bench because it was not a blowout. So these guys actually had high minute totals. KD 37 minutes, Draymond 37, Klay Thompson 40, Curry 34. So we got a full lot of minutes from the entire starting 5 from Golden State, or with the exception of Zaza Pachulia, who only played 22 minutes, but he doesn't really count anyway. He's just like a 5th man or whatever. Warren on the other side of the ball, 36 minutes, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. This dude is trending up. I'm watching game tape on him right now, just seeing what he does, how he goes at attacking the basket, how his jump shot's working. You got to do your own research. You've got to. Eric Bledsoe had a really good game out. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 steal. Brandon Knight. 25 minutes for Brandon Knight. He had 9 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Alex Len jumped off of the bench, and I don't know why this dude is not starting. I mean, Tyson Chandler had a pretty good game, a really good rebounding game, actually. He had like 6 points and 18 boards. 8 points and 18 boards. No blocks, 1 assist, and no steals for him. PJ Tucker is kind of lost in the rotation. He was down to 7 minutes. Like I said, Alex Len, 6, 8, 1, 1, and 3 blocks. And Leandro Barbosa got about 14 minutes off of the bench. Marcus Chris, who we got to keep an eye on because he's a rookie that's playing really well. He had 13 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. The next game I'm going to be recapping is going to be the San Antonio Spurs at the Miami Heat. And the Spurs aren't really breaking away from teams early on in the season. We had a couple guys rest for this game. Aldridge was out, and Gasol stepped in and had a really good game. He double-doubled, 20 and 11, with 3 assists and 2 blocks. Kawhi Leonard was his usual self, 27 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. David Lee, who a lot of folks started when they got the news that Aldridge was going to be out, because you got to stay tuned. You got to be tuned in so you can know who to play and where to play. Now, I like Dedmon more than I like David Lee, just because I thought the game was going to maybe get out of hand and you were going to see a lot of that scrub love. They both had very similar games. Dedmon came off the bench, had 9 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, but he was outscored DraftKings points-wise by David Lee. So those of you that went with David Lee over Dedmon, you were right. We had 27 minutes for Manu Ginobili, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals, 18 points for Mills, and he had 18 DraftKings points as well because he didn't do anything else. He didn't. Well, if he turned the ball over, he probably finished in the negative. Let's see if he. Yeah. So he scored 18 DraftKings points. Excuse me, real life points. Got a turnover, so he had less DraftKings points than he had real life points. It's pretty bad. On the Miami side of the ball, this is a guy that if you didn't have him in your roster, you probably didn't do very well. I think my best lineup was about 292, a little short of that 300 club that we all want to be a part of. But I definitely had Whiteside in that lineup. He had 27 points, 15 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and 4 blocks. And I think he might have tweaked the knee, so we want to be careful going forward with Hassan Whiteside and see what his development is going to be as far as getting through that knee strain. Luke Babbitt in 25 minutes had 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Dragic had a bounce-back game against the San Antonio Spurs. He had 25 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. Tyler Johnson in 30 minutes had 12 points and 3 rebounds. So this wasn't a very bad game for the Miami Heat. It was very competitive. It was very competitive, but they just didn't have enough in the tank to last with the LaMarcus Aldridge-less San Antonio Spurs. Next game, this game had a lot of goodness in it, man. If you didn't have, if you didn't have Whiteside and you didn't have Drummond, there's no way you made money. I like to see a lineup that cashed that didn't have either of those guys in it, because Andre Drummond had a monster rebounding game. He had 20 points, 23 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, and 1 assist. KCP led the team in scoring, and this is a guy that he will have like a few stinker games in a row, then you have a few good games in a row. So KCP is somebody who I definitely had in my lineups, just thinking that maybe he was going to be able to turn it on, and he did. So he had a really good game. He had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And I think at 4.3K, that was a really, really good value for a player with that much production. John Lure came off of the bench, 27 minutes, 6 points, and 3 rebounds with 1 assist. Now, John Lure, I think his role in the rotation is pretty solid. This game was, I mean, he didn't make value, but the minutes is what we got to look at. He played a lot in this game, and I think he's going to be playing a lot going forward. Bino Udrih jumped off the bench and had 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. He's somebody to watch going forward. And Tobias Harris, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Marcus Morris, he was second on the team in minutes behind Andre Drummond. He had 35 minutes, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the LA Lakers going to Oklahoma City. I mean, we can't say enough about this dude. Like, what are they going to do now? Are they going to raise the salary to 13 grand? This dude is freaking nuts. Triple-double. Another triple-double. I mean, he went ham, and it's just insane to watch. And in 33 minutes, he has 33 points, 12 rebounds, 16 assists, a steal, and a block. Like, he went off. He went off. Almost 80 something fantasy points. I mean, he went nuts. Westbrook, I didn't fade him. I had him in a lot of different spots. And today, this wasn't an overly profitable day for me. I kind of played light because I had some of my attention shifted to the NFL. But man, this dude is really good. He's really good, and he's taking over. We talked a lot about Roberson being a decent play, like a value play on the slate, in order to get Westbrook in your lineups and stack that team. And Roberson had a pretty good game for his value, 3.2K, I believe. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block. He played pretty well. Adams, who I was kind of wrong about, because I had, I had a feeling that Adams was maybe going to get into some foul trouble guarding Randall, but I felt Randall was going to have a good game, which he did, 40 DK points. But Adams was right there with him the entire time. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. He had an excellent game. Cantor jumped off of the bench at 16 and 6. We didn't really see too much Joffrey Laverne. He had 7 points, and excuse me, he had 2 points and 2 rebounds with 1 assist and 2 steals. So the core of players that are going to score is pretty set in stone on Oklahoma City. So the only way to really maximize rostering Westbrook is if you're going to get him to add the other value players on the team and stack it. Now, I cannot stress to you enough about the sense it makes to stack offenses, especially if you are a multi-entry player, because you look at the point totals. Your job as a DFS player in these tournaments is to find the highest scoring, most efficient, most productive offense of the night and stack the shit out of it. Like, that is your job. That is how you're going to get money in these tournaments. Sabonis, man, had a horrible line. He only played 6 minutes, zeros all across. He had 1 steal and 1 block. Depot had a so-so game, 20 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, and 1 steal. On the other side of the ball, hey man, Randall, man, he went off. He fell one shot of a double-double bonus speed. He had 20 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals in 32 minutes. D'Angelo Russell, D'Lo had 20, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. And Jordan Clarkson jumped off the bench in 28 minutes and had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 steals, and 2 assists. We didn't see much of Brandon Ingram. We saw a little bit. He played like 20 minutes. So we know he should be good to go from the knee that he had tweaked earlier in the week. He had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Lou Williams in 19 minutes had 7 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists with a steal. The next game we're going to talk about is the game I had a lot invested in. I talked in the last video about how much I really like John Wall, and I was able to get John Wall, Whiteside, and Russell Westbrook in the same lineup. So of course, I had like tons of value plays everywhere. This lineup did finish 292. It was my best lineup. I had it in a lot of different single entry GPPs, so I was able to make a positive return on my investment. But it wasn't the big hit that we were all looking for. So let's get started. Otto Porter, 36 minutes of Otto Porter, only 13 points and 4 rebounds with 1 steal. John Wall, he had a really good game, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 13 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Martin Gortat, 14 and 12 with an assist. Pretty good game for Martin Gortat. Kelly Oubre came off the bench in 14 minutes and had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 steal. So him and Otto Porter are still pushing at each other for minutes in the rotation. We want to keep an eye on that. Andrew Nicholson in 24 minutes had 8 points and 3 rebounds. Now they're looking for Andrew Nicholson to play that role that Nene played for them last year, just a banger bruiser, the first big man off the bench. And I think as the season goes on, we're going to see him get deeper and deeper involved into the rotation. Markieff Morris almost got thrown out of the game early in the game, but he did end up playing 35 minutes and had 11 points and 7 rebounds with 1 assist and 2 steals with a block. Now on the other side of the ball, man, I didn't see much ownership for guys on this team, but because Conley was on a minute restriction and Gasol was on a minute restriction, but guess what? Gasol played 29 minutes and Conley played 37 minutes. We listen to the beat writers who get words from the coaches, and we roster or do not roster players according to these things. Sometimes they blow up in our face. This was one of those instances, because if I knew that against this paced-up Washington Wizards team, we were going to have a full allotment of minutes from the 2 best players from the Memphis side, I would have definitely stacked that side as well. So we got from Gasol 20, 10, 1 assist, 1 steal, and a block. From Conley, we got 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 11 assists. Really good game from Mike Conley. The most peculiar thing about this game was when it came down the stretch, they continued to give the ball to Bradley Beal and let him shoot. And Bradley Beal had a horrible game. 39 minutes, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block. And from 5 for 17 shooting. He shot 29%. It was horrible watching him play that entire game. JaMychal Green played 40 minutes, 7 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. Now, he wasn't supposed to play at first. He was questionable, but he ended up getting some minutes. Zach Randolph, 25 minutes, had 22 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 steals off of the bench. Vince Carter in 31 minutes. The old man is getting 31 minutes, and he had 18 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. The last game, and that game did go into overtime, so we did have an increase in stats because that game did go into overtime. The last game was the Dallas Mavericks at the Houston Rockets. Now, Dirk Nowitzki was kind of a late scratch, like just before Tip. Well, he was a late scratch. Yeah, he was a late scratch. Just before Tip, they announced that he wasn't going to play. I didn't have him anywhere anyway, but I did have some Harrison Barnes, and I had some Darren Williams, and it did not work well for me. Clearly, Barea is the better point guard option on this team. He's cheaper, and at the end of the day, he just gets it done way, way better than Darren Williams. And Seth Curry is dead to me. I will never, ever roster Seth Curry as long as he is a player in the National Basketball Association. Harrison Barnes in 38 minutes had a horrible game, 10 points, 5 rebounds. Wesley Matthews, had a really good game, and I had him in a couple spots. He had 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. He also led the team in scoring. JJ Barea played 31 minutes, the same amount of minutes that Darren Williams played, but he had 18 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. The Houston side of the ball, James Harden, he got started earlier, kind of tweaked his ankle at the end of the game, hit the 2 free throws to win the game, but he ended up with 28 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists with the steal. Not kind of what you wanted from him if you paid that $11,000 for him. So I can see maybe his price might be coming down a little bit. I can't see him in the 11K range anymore. I'm not going to roster him as long as he's that much. He's going to have to come down closer to 10, even under 10, for me to give him that much consideration to have him everywhere the way I did on opening night. Trevor Ariza in 33 minutes had 6 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. And his game would have been horrible if not for the other counting stats that he had away from the points. Ryan Anderson had a really good game, 14 points and 12 rebounds. Now, he had a game like he used to have last year in New Orleans. And if he can keep that up, if he can rebound and see more minutes, he had more minutes than Capella this game, kind of because they understand that Capella is more of an offensive liability. Ryan Anderson can step out, he can shoot the 3, he can rebound when he has to. So I think going forward, Ryan Anderson is going to be somebody that we can keep our eye on and look for him to improve game to game. Eric Gordon had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. He was somebody that I was on a lot. And I'm going to take this game of him not playing very well as kind of a win-win situation, because his price is not going to go up, and they're going to continue to see plus matchups as long as Harden is running the offense and Gordon can stand outside and knock those shots down where he can. Nene off the bench had 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. And Tyler Ennis got in the game only for 9 minutes. Corey Brewer, 14 minutes. And Capella, 26 minutes, 4 points, and 10 rebounds. Like I said, he's an offensive liability. So that breaks down the games that we have had for Sunday. But Monday's slate of games, let's jump right into those. The first game is going to be Sacramento Kings taking on the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. Atlanta is giving up 7 points. This is a 201 total. In this game, I like the Atlanta bigs, especially Paul Millsap. I really like Millsap in this game. It's always pace up whenever you play Sacramento because they run so fast, the pace is so quick. So he is somebody that I can definitely see you play as well as Dennis Schroeder. I like Schroeder. You got to keep an eye on Tim Hardaway Jr. He had a really good game last time out, and I think he is working himself into that rotation, trying to be that 6th man. This is a guy that was the 6th man of the year at one point. So he can be a really good asset to your lineups going forward. Boogie, the price is kind of high on Boogie. He is the only major star on the slate, so I can definitely see him having that high ownership. And for that reason, I think I'm fading, because in a 4-game slate, you don't have to have Boogie Cousins. You don't have to have him, because whoever has him is not going to have the other mid-level guys that are going to keep you with the field. So I think tomorrow I'm not going to be going up against. I'm not going to take Boogie Cousins going up against 2 really good bigs in Atlanta. Now, that being said, I think Rudy Gay is in play. I think Ty Lawson is in play also. And you've got to give some consideration to Ben McLemore, because he came off the bench and he's really lighting it up. He's hot shooting right now, and you've got to roll with the hot hand. The next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Chicago Bulls going to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. And Chicago is -6 in this game. This is the highest point total of the night. Remember, it's only a 4-game slate. So it's a 211.5 over-under. I'm stacking. I like this. I'm stacking. I like Rondo. I like, as a possible stack, I like Rondo, I like Butler, and I like Wade. And I also like Robin Lopez. Now, and you may have the 4-game, 4-man, 5-man stack on a slate this small, and you can definitely get away with that. And on the other side, I like Brook Lopez. I like Brook Lopez in this game. Brother against brother. That is a narrative you got to go with. I think I'm going to make a lot of lineups with both of them in there. When they do play each other, I can see them, going at each other and scoring points and playing well against each other. So I'll be rostering both of them in lineups together. Actually, we've got to look at Rondé Hollis Jefferson at 3.9K. He's somebody that can get those turnovers, maybe score a little bit, slash to the basket. He's a pretty good defender as well. You got to look at Jeremy Lin in this game. He's going to see some Rajon Rondo defense, which is no defense at all. This is a possible game stack. You may be able to take down something just on this game alone. The next game we're going to talk about is going to be Denver Broncos. I have them in football at 22 points. Is the Denver Nuggets taking on the Toronto Raptors. I always tell you, there are going to be times when I say fire up Lowry and DeRozan. Well, this is one of those times. Pace up game. You play Lowry, you play DeRozan, you play Valanciunas. You stack that. And on the other side of the ball, you like Jokic and you like Nurkic. Now, I was on Jokic the other night when he had that monster game. I think this is a Nurkic game because Toronto plays at a kind of a half-court pace, and I think the faster of the bigs is going to really have a shot to work on Valanciunas, and that's going to be Nurkic. So I like Nurkic in this game. Moutier is not in play. Nobody on Denver perimeter is in play. Barton is not in play for me. Murray, none of those cats are in play for me. I just like Denver bigs, and I like Toronto's perimeter. I also like DeMarre Carroll in this game because he's a really good defender, and the guy who's going to have the ball a lot is going to be Gallinari. So you can get those turnovers, you can get those fast break points with DeMarre Carroll. So if you don't like Valanciunas, but you got to play Lowry DeRozan, maybe you can play Lowry DeRozan Carroll and just get all the perimeter players in this game. But that's the way I'm going to attack tomorrow's slate. The last game we're going to talk about is the Phoenix Suns at the LA Clippers. This is a 206 over under. There's going to be a lot of late night hammer festival type deals in this game with Phoenix getting 10.5 points. They've been keeping it close with really good teams lately, so I really like a lot about this Phoenix team. You can rebound the ball against the Clippers. It doesn't matter if DeAndre Jordan is there. You can rebound the ball against the Clippers. So I like the Phoenix bigs for the cheap. I like Alex Len, and I also like Tyson Chandler in this game. I do not like the Phoenix perimeter. Bledsoe is probably the only guy that I would roster with confidence. I'm not so much yet sold on Devin Booker. He's gonna have to show me a little bit more for me to feel like confidence that I need to feel when I throw him in my single entry GPPs. So of course Chris Paul is definitely going to be in play in this game. The only issue is you may get that you have that blowout potential. So there may be some scrub love here for Jamal Crawford, for the coach's son. You may even see some Maurice Spates in this game really get off once the game kind of gets out of hand, if the Vegas total is what we can go by, and that is what I go by all the time. So it was a really good weekend for us here in the DFS Sweatshop. NFL videos are going to be coming out soon. I'm going to jump right into week 9 and take a first look at those point totals. Like, comment, subscribe, share, but first and foremost, let's get this money. Y'all have a good Monday.